What's up, guys? It's Benny. Could President Trump's face technically be carved into Mount Rushmore? The answer is absolutely yes. The Secretary of the Interior, who controls the monument, says there's space for Trump's face, and this, well, is no joke. This is a monument that President Trump has at Mar-a-Lago, a golden Mount Rushmore with his face on it. If you actually look at Mount Rushmore itself, you can sort of see where President Trump's head would go. This is something that Kristi Noem gave to Donald Trump a few years ago. And you can see right here with this epic speech that Trump gave at the monument to mark the 4th of July in the year 2020. Well, you can almost see his hair up there, right? Yeah, okay. Well, this is really gaining steam right now, this mission to put Trump on Mount Rushmore. And it would make the libs lose their freaking minds. I mean, if you really want to trigger a lib over the next couple of days, 4th of July, bring up this. This is how libs, by the way, reported on President Trump's speech at Mount Rushmore 4 years ago.
Independence Day weekend, President Trump will be at Mount Rushmore, where he'll be standing in front of a monument of 2 slave owners and on land wrestled away from Native Americans, told that be focusing on the effort to, quote, tear down our country's history.
You don't hate CNN enough. That's how CNN describes Mount Rushmore. Slave owners and people that killed Indians. These people are undeserving of our nation, quite frankly. Such disrespect. Honestly. I mean, I really do hope. Trump told me this week, actually, when I asked him a question about CNN, he says, I'm going to sue them into oblivion for their lies. Trump is actively suing CNN right now. I hope he adds to it. And ladies and gentlemen, Elon Musk, of all people, saying that Donald Trump belongs on Mount Rushmore. I will personally work the chisel, says Elon. So one of Trump's top advisors also told me on the show, what are we waiting on? Put Trump's face on Mount Rushmore. We got the votes. He's going to sign it. Let's go, says Corey Lewandowski. This, of course, inspiring people to say, should Trump be on Mount Rushmore? I mean, you can see, again, you can see it. You can almost see the hair. Anna Paulina Luna saying, I'm filing the legislation as we speak. And here it is. Fresh off the presses, fresh off Donald Trump's big, beautiful bill victory, Andy Ogles has officially sent a letter to Secretary Doug Burgum calling for Trump to be added to Mount Rushmore. Here it is on the congressional stationery and all. Doug Burgum, by the way, who is the Secretary of the Interior, says that there's enough room for President Trump's face. I mean, can't you see it? You can see it right there, right? You can see the hair. You can see, and right there, you can see the hair. Freaking awesome. Mount Rushmore is one of the most popular tourist destinations in the world. South Dakota officials push for Trump's statue garden near Mount Rushmore despite local opposition. So they're already trying. Again, you can see it here. Could or should Trump be added to Mount Rushmore? President Trump also retruthing photos of him on Mount Rushmore. So, okay, Donald Trump's definitely down with the idea. So here we go. Mount Rushmore experts reveal if Trump can be added to the iconic monument as sculptor's granddaughter gives blunt response. Okay, let's listen. There you go. Look at that. Donald Trump's dream of one day being carved into Mount Rushmore is unlikely to ever become a reality due to concerns of the sculpture's collapse if it's tampered with. That's interesting. The 4 faces carved into the South Dakota mountain, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Theodore Roosevelt, and Abraham Lincoln, are among the most popular American leaders to this day. Well, I mean, Trump's not finished yet, but okay. Trump's ambitions to join them on the iconic sculpture would be hugely divisive, but the president theoretically could direct his administration to begin carving him in. Robin Kennedy, the granddaughter of the iconic artist who dreamed up and executed the sculpture, believes there's no place for Trump or any other living presidents. It was conceived as a tribute to the ideals of America, she told the New York Times. Not any one man. Okay? But there are 4 men on it. So, and she doesn't control anything. So who the hell cares if it's his granddaughter? Did you even meet him? You know, like who cares? What does that matter? You don't own your granddaughter doesn't own Mount Rushmore. All right, anyway. Believes Mount Rushmore is a historic memorial to America rather than a tribute to politics. I mean, I get it, I get it. You don't want every president trying to carve their face into a mountainside. God, I mean, it's kind of cool, but yeah, that's fine. Joe Biden couldn't carve his face into a bowl of Jell-O. The experts have warned that any new additions risk destroying the 4 monuments which already exist among the cracks and fractures deep within the stone. Now, that is a matter of fact. Mount Rushmore is tough to maintain. There have already been major disasters at Mount Rushmore where huge pieces have been fallen, cracked, and chiseled off. Geochemical engineer Paul Nelson, who worked in the monitoring system at Mount Rushmore, warned one of the concerns about additional face is that you could activate these fractures. If you remove material, you could be removing support. Nelson noted that it would be extremely difficult, impossible, to carve additional faces on Mount Rushmore. Warning: an example of new face could cost Lincoln his nose, which is hanging on by a thread, actually. While there's technically plenty of room for another face, the reality is the rock is fragile. It might not be possible. While much of the mountain is granite, there are pockets of pre-magnite crystal, rose quartz, and schist, which are unusable for carving. They had to abandon plans of carving torsos into each of the former presidents due to this instability of much of the rock. They had to stop work on one of the faces and move its location after it was determined to be the area of the side of Lincoln was unstable. That's why Lincoln is so set back. In all the changes of the initial plans, 9 times in order to work around the challenges of the rock, even with the faces that are deep chasms and cracks that are delicately worked around and left in place to avoid risking the integrity of work. You can see here the original sculpture. You can see the torsos of the presidents as they were originally carved. And this is, of course, what the mountain looked like before the faces were carved into it, and so on. The former superintendent of Mount Rushmore National Museum said you wouldn't add another face to this Mount Rushmore, just like you wouldn't add one to Da Vinci's Last Supper. I recognize that these types of ideas are no longer off the table. Fortunately, from my view, not just Trump, but anybody else, they're fighting against the reality of the rock. Trump first expressed his dreams of one day being memorialized on Mount Rushmore during his first term in a conversation with Kristi Noem. Okay. Well, we'll see. He said it would be his dream to be included on that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you know what? We'll see. Obviously, we got the legislation to back it up. We got all the energy to back it up. And it would make CNN really, really mad. So, make for a great 4th of July for me. Never forget President Trump's epic speech at Mount Rushmore. It's freaking so awesome. You can watch it actually right here. Ladies and gentlemen, like, share, and subscribe if you love America and if you want Trump's face on Mount Rushmore. Maybe you just find a mountain next to it. You know, you find another mountain. A lot of these mountain ranges in South Dakota. There's a thought.